A very big hi from Mrs. Prasanna Raj once again in front of you. So I have come with a different topic today. I want to swish and I want to take you to some other world. A world of fantasies and a world of stories. So most of us, we all people know what are stories, right? So they are narrations. They're coming from one generation to the other generation in the form of books or something else. So we have come to know about, we have read so many exciting stories which have so much of length and which have so much of moral and which have so much of what you call the things what you can learn and which we can put in our lives. So this is what I have come here to bring a difference, an airline difference between a folklore and a fairy tale. So all of you must have read what are folklores and we are familiar with the fairy tales too. So did we not read when we were young and when we were kids? And even day to day now children love to read all the folklores and the fairy tales. Now here are the differences between the folklores and the fairy tales. Right? Now let us start. Now coming to the folk fairy tales. Now let me come and tell you about the fairy tales first. What are fairy tales, friends? You people know they take us to a different world, is it not? So fairy tales always open with once upon a time. So any time you open a book, a fairy tale opens up with an open line, once upon a time, right? There lived a king, there lived a queen, once upon a time. Now coming to the next one, they create their own world with many rules. They have set in rules. They have their own rules in their own world of going. This is also very, very important. And also, this land is filled up with the magical creatures. The land is filled up with magical creatures. Their own set of rules they have, their own magical creatures they have in their own world. And now here, about strictly speaking, we have a specific significant nature who has been put up in this story is the heroine. The heroine of the character, she develops a strong main character in the story. The heroine of the play, she plays a lot of very important role to say. Okay, what is the first point? The story begins with once upon a time. The second one, it has its own set-in rules and also with the magical characters. And the fourth one is the heroine plays a very important role. Right, and coming to the next one, and the villain. The villain also plays equally important role in the fairy tales. Right, and he creates an evil antagonist. A major part also is played by the villain in the story, and he is an ultimate bad guy. He is an intimate bad girl or a boy. So no, there is no compromise in his character. He plays a very bad character in this, right? So the evil character is played by the villain in the story. And next one, what is the moral? It also gives out a moral. What moral does it give? It teaches, and now the moments where the heroine defeats the villain. The heroine should defeat the villain to end up with a moral giving to the public. So we read the story to get something out of it. The outcome, the final outcome should be the defeat of the villain by the heroine. This is one more important character of the fairy tale. Okay, and next one, the last but not the least, the happy ending. Always a fairy tale ends up happily. There is a happy note at the end. The bell rings at the end happily. And now good always triumphs over the evil. So always the better ending is by the good. So this is another point which I want to bring to your notice. Next one. What is a strong element in this story is the change of scenes. You can, whenever you open a story, like you can find Cinderella. Cinderella lived in a small village in the north of England. She had two sisters. They were very ugly. She got up every morning at 6 o'clock. Then she made breakfast for her sisters and afterwards she cleaned the house. She worked all day. Her sisters were very lazy. They never did any work because Cinderella did everything. Cinderella was very unhappy. One day, the postman came to the house. He gave Cinderella's sister an envelope. In the envelope, there were 3 invitations to a party at the prince's house. She said to her sisters, "Fantastic! There is a party at the prince's house. I can wear my new red dress and emerald and can wear her new blue dress. But Cinderella can't go because her dress is old and dirty and she hasn't got any shoes." On Saturday, Cinderella was very sad. There was a ring at the door and she opened. There was a woman. She said, "Hello, I am your fairy godmother. Why are you sad?" "I want to go to the party, but I haven't got any beautiful clothes." "No problem. Here is a new dress and some glass shoes. There is a pumpkin coach in the street. Now you can go to the party. But you must return before 12 o'clock. "Thank you." She put on the glass shoes and the red dress. She looked very pretty. Then she went to the party. At the party, Cinderella was very shy. But after an hour, the prince asked her to dance. They danced for a long time. The prince said, "I like your dress and you're very pretty." Cinderella was very happy. She forgot what time it was. Suddenly the clock rang. "Oh no, I must go. It is 12 o'clock." She ran home but lost her shoe at the prince's house. The next day, the prince was very sad because he was in love with Cinderella, but he didn't know where she lived. He went to every house in the village and said, "Do you know whose shoe this is?" Finally, he went to Cinderella's house. Cinderella opened the door. The prince said, "I love you. Do you want to marry me?" Cinderella said, "Yes." The wedding was the week after. Cinderella and the prince were ever happy again and were never unhappy again. Here the story took place. The setting is in an ordinary house with an ordinary girl and ended up in a kingdom, ended up in a big palace. And you can see how humble the princess is, how simple this Cinderella is. Until she became the princess of the kingdom, she was very humble. And there is a light magic also in this, where the godmother has performed. And you can see also the villain of the story is the stepmother herself. And she was very cruel. And the cruelty is seen clearly all through the story. And there is a suspense also when the scene changes from the one place to the other place, from Cinderella's house to the palace. There is a lot of change in the scenes, as I have told what are the elements of the fairy tale. And next, the makeover of the Cinderella. How this humble Cinderella changes into a beautiful princess when she is gifted with the dress and with lot many ornaments and a nice chariot. It's a pumpkin chariot is given to her. All this is a makeover of Cinderella. So all these are the elements that we find in our Cinderella story. And the ending is so interesting that no one realizes until the end that Cinderella becomes the queen of the kingdom. And at last, her glass shoe, which was left in the kingdom, will take this Cinderella back into the kingdom, and both this prince and the princess, this prince of the kingdom and Cinderella, they live ever, ever, ever happily. So this is a small story with all the settings and all the pictures I have brought in front of you today. So enjoy this fairy tale, friends, and tomorrow I will come with you and I will join with you and I will travel with you into a folk tale. So until then, I remain Mrs. Mulpuri Prasanna Raj, with lots of love and affection from you people. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you, friends. I remain.